former All-American and UNO and City Amateur Golf Champion. He's not here to talk about golf, though. He serves as the co-host of The Original on Friday nights on WGSO 990 AM, and statewide serves as co-host of Prep Recruiting Insider on WHNO-TV 20, does high school games on WGSO, and serves as host of the Three Tailgaters show with a couple other guys on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on WGSO. He served as the head coach at St. James High School for 19 years, guided the Wildcats to 3 state championship games. He was assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Tulane as well back in the 1980s. Please give a warm Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club welcome to Rick Gaille. Rick.
We submitted that resume to Ripley's and he didn't believe it. Thank you for the opportunity to have a chance to come speak with you all a little while this afternoon. It's been a great pleasure since I retired from coaching after the 2010 season to be able to work and to have an example of people like Ken and Ed Daniels and Ro Brown, and to work with Brian Alley Walsh. What a great joy that has been to learn how to do the media business the right way. And I hope that I can lend a little bit of a unique perspective to what's going on out there. One of the axioms that I believe in is that you judge a person by their actions, or that your actions speak so loudly I cannot hear what you are saying. And when you look at sports administration in Louisiana right now, they ought to just shut up and let's judge them. Because talk about some broken administration throughout the state, it's just been incredible. When you look at the state playoffs in high school football, that's a mess, and it's got to be solved. And you would think that a bunch of masters and PhDs should be able to solve this thing. That 9 is way too many. And it's got to be on one weekend. It's got to be where you're not starting a game at 10:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. So we're seeing plenty of examples there. Eddie Bonan has pledged that he's going to help solve the problem. It can be, and I'm confident that it will be. But I'll tell you what isn't broken. It's that high school players and high school coaches participate and excel at an extraordinarily high level. It doesn't matter how bad the playoff system is. I can guarantee you when you put the ball down between the lines that the players are going to compete. They don't care who they're competing against, what time of the day they're competing, or whatever. They're going to play. That's one of the things that makes Louisiana high school sports, especially high school football, as outstanding as it is. Our kids will play unless you coach them to do otherwise. And the high school coaching in this state, especially in football, is unbelievable. The number of times that on the original or on the Three Tailgaters we talk about an outstanding coach is just remarkable. Other states in the union don't have that because football is important, and number 2, you can make football coaching a career. It's not a part-time job. It's something that we put all of our effort into all of the time, all year. So that's a great blessing because our coaches and players will show up and play. And that kind of works against solving the whole problem because in January the principals go, well, look at all the great games that we had, especially in the Superdome. This isn't so bad. Well, it is. Hopefully we'll get it solved. In the LSU situation, I've only got 2 questions. Number 1, who in the world thought that firing Les Miles was a good idea? And number 2, who in the hell thought it up? I just want to know those 2 things because that was not a good idea, and especially the way it was handled. You work for an employer at their pleasure. They can hire you, they can fire you, they can do whatever you want. But you don't start a month before the termination, poisoning the well, so to speak, with rumors that he's going to get bought out. That was just handled atrociously. And there's no excuse for it. Now we'll see what goes on going forward. Because there's no question that Coach Miles has got to hire an offensive coordinator that, number 1, can coach quarterbacks. That's been the most disappointing thing to me the last 2 years, that the quarterbacks have not shown improvement. That's one of the things that I look at is whether a coach is doing a good job. Do his players improve? That's your job. If they don't improve, then you're not coaching. You're just minding the store, so to speak. And he's got to be able to hire an offensive coordinator who's strong enough to be able to debate with him and stand up for what's necessary for LSU to be effective offensively. Not sure if that person exists, but I know there's some great quarterback coaches. They got a great quarterback coach, I'll tell you, in Baton Rouge right now, working in the video side, Blaine Gocho. Played at Lutcher, played at ULL, and he's dealing with film. If they gave him the quarterbacks, they would all get better. Because you can't tell me that they're not good enough to play. I don't believe that. Go to the Saints real quick. There's one statement. I cannot believe, and we know they're paying for the sins of the past, especially when it comes to draft and player acquisition. I cannot believe that the Saints could stand toe-to-toe with Carolina earlier in the year with a backup quarterback, should have won the game, except Luke McCown had a Luke McCown moment and threw it to that guy instead of that guy. I can't believe that they could stand up to Carolina and play as badly as they're doing right now. Something is really bad on the administrative side, some side. Something is really bad because Carolina plays the game the right way. If you study Carolina, you see a football team that plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. There's only a couple of those in the NFL. I think there's a lot of bad football out there, but Carolina's not one of them. I can't believe they can stand toe-to-toe with them and be as bad as they are right now. Perhaps all they need is the incentive of playing an undefeated team, national televised audience this week to give their best. Let's hope so, because it's a lot more fun studying things. That's what I've been able to do the last 5 years, is study a lot of video, attend practices, talk to people that I never had a chance to talk with before, and find out what good football teams do, what good organizations do. And then lastly, on the Tulane side of things, I coached at Tulane in 82, 83, 84. I know what it's like to get fired at Tulane. Happened twice. We beat LSU in 1982 on Saturday, got fired on Monday. That was the last year of Vince Gibson. The next 2 years worked in Wally World for Wally English, found out a lot about what not to do. And deservedly, but we got fired, but I also learned that at the end of a season, you get on a plane and go recruiting as quickly as possible so you're on the road when they fire you. Because when we got fired from Wally World, I was in San Diego. And so I got a chance to visit the zoo the next day. What does Tulane have to do to be successful? Number one, they have to determine, do we want to be successful? They have to make a commitment to being successful. Are we a world-class university? And if indeed we are a world-class university, there is no excuse for not doing everything that you do to the best of your ability. There's no excuse not to have a world-class athletic department if you have a world-class university. That's what universities are supposed to be about. Can you imagine recruiting a student and saying, won't you come to my school so you can be mediocre? We've got mediocre educational facilities, we've got mediocre professors. Come to our school so you can be mediocre. Of course that's not the case. There's no excuse not to do your very best and to be excellent. Number two, can they get in a Power 5 conference? That's going to be the future, or whatever the number of power conferences is going to be. That's the future of college football. And number three, can it be done? Yes. Undoubtedly, it can be done. Look at Stanford. Look at Northwestern. Look at Duke. Look at Georgia Tech. High academic schools with excellent athletic programs. Yes, it can be done, but only if there is a commitment to excellence like the rest of the university. Your actions speak so loudly that I cannot hear what you are saying. We will find out in very short order if Tulane has made that commitment or not. Now, we have to take any questions.
What do you think about Arnie Philco being the athletic director at Tulane?
Tulane should have begged Arnie Philco to come for an interview. I have no qualms about saying that. We said it on the 3 tailgaters. The man has been extraordinarily successful in everything that he's done. And whether he got the job or not, okay, you can make some comparisons there, but not to be in the final interviews is irrational to me.
Think John Benson had anything to do with that?
Can you put 2 and 2 together? Yeah, that was a tete-a-tete way back in the Katrina days, I think, carried forth. Maybe not directly. They have ways of using ESPN or something to let their to get their vibes out there. But yeah, I would think that very well could be. Yes, sir.
Isn't being in a Power 5 conference, though, a chicken or the egg? Doesn't the school have to improve the program so that they'll be attractive to one of those conferences, not begging your way in?
Yes, and that's why the commitment's got to be there. You're
Like
exactly,
at TCU.
Yes, exactly right. Like Houston's doing. I mean, there's going to be, and Memphis is doing. Those are the schools that are going to make a huge push to getting in the Power whatever, whether it's 4 or 5, whatever. My idea would be to have 4 Power conferences of 20 teams in each conference, 10 teams in each division of each conference. Those two division champions play each other, and now you've got your 4 teams. Play your way into the playoffs instead of having to vote on it. I'm not much on having athletic administrators vote on squat, much less who's going to be in a playoff. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm so happy to be here with Jay. Jay and I worked together when I was coaching at Rummel. I'm so happy and proud of what he's doing. Happy to be here with Ken and Brian Alley Walsh to follow some great mentors of mine, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.